Hello, my mighty violists. Let's learn about our staff today. Okay, so I'm going to be using this whiteboard. It has it has the staff kind of already built in. Okay, so we've got 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spaces in between those. Oh, and as a reminder, everything's on page 16. Everything we're talking about is written there, so you can kind of follow along if you want to. Okay, so we have our 5 lines and our 4 spaces, and we can put notes. We can draw notes either on a line with the line going straight through the middle of the note, like that, or we can draw it in the space. We cannot overlap. It has to be right. Oops. There we go. All the way filled in, I guess, and it has to be right in between. It can't be half on one of the lines or like overlapping. It has to be either a line note or a space note. Now our pattern for our notes, we follow a pattern of space, line, line, space, line, space. As our notes move up the staff, the sound, they represent sounds that are moving up. Okay, so if we have a note right here, then our next one is on the line, then a space, line, space, line, space. Okay, so we follow that pattern up the scale, up the staff. Okay, so we've got like G, A, B, C, D. The sound moves up. Okay, now we have at the beginning of all the staffs, there's the clefs. The clef basically tells you which instrument those notes are on. It's like the key to unlocking the code. This is the viola clef. Oops, I only drew one line. It has 2 lines. Okay, this is the viola clef. This is very uniquely for violas. No other instruments use this. Treble clef and bass clef, the piano uses, violin, violas, singers, like lots of instruments, woodwinds, some of the woodwinds and brass use it. But the viola clef is all yours, okay? So because of where your instrument range is, it's kind of unique. Okay, so when we have this on here, when you see this, you're gonna know that this is written for a viola. Now we gotta learn where some of the notes are on the staff. And the most important ones that we're gonna learn, obviously, are gonna be our open strings, because they're the ones we know already. Okay, so we have to use a little bit of an extension line, a ledger line, to go down further than what's on the staff for your C string, because it's so low. Because we don't have enough room on our staff for all of our notes. But we don't want to have too many lines, otherwise it get really confusing really fast. So we just have some extension lines that help out when we need them. Okay, so this is where your C string note is. It's down, you put one ledger line down, there's a space in between there, and then there's a ledger line, the note's gonna sit in there, and there's a ledger line, and then this is where your C, your open C is. Okay, so if you saw this symbol, you saw this big circle note underneath one ledger line, you would automatically know that that means the note is that you're supposed to play is your open C string. Your G, kind of a little easier to figure out where it is. It is right there on that very first space. Okay, so that's really easy to find, is that G, that very first space. Again, we're gonna skip up a little bit, skip a whole bunch of notes, and then we're gonna go up to where the D string is. Okay, so this is why it's really helpful to kind of focus on where your middle line is. The third, that's where the middle line, you kind of divide the staff into halves, and you can see that that D note sits right above that middle line. So you don't have to think 1, 2, 3 spaces up, you can just see, oh, it's sitting on the space above that middle line, that's where my open D string is. Okay, and then your A string is really easy too, because it's just sitting up there on top. It's just sitting up there on top of that line, okay? So those are your open strings. Really important that you learn where those are. Again, these are on page 16. Now we're going to learn the notes of your D string. So we already know where open D string is. See if you can remember. It's sitting right above that line right there. That's our open D. I'm gonna write note name below it and the finger number above it. Okay, open D. Now we're following our pattern of line, space, line, space. So we're gonna go up 1. So the line right above that space where open D is E, and you play E by putting your first finger down. So every time that you're going to move up a space or a line up our pattern, you're going to put down another finger to play another note up. So open D, first finger E, the next space, because we went space, line, space. See if you can guess what note it is and what finger number you're going to use. It is F sharp. D, E, F sharp, open, 1, 2. The next one is our third finger, G, and again, it's up right on that top line. That one's really easy to see as well. So there's our third finger, G. And then our fourth finger, oops, I'm running out of room here, you're right. Fourth finger, A, is up there on top. Again, that can also be your open A. They're the same note, exactly. You can just play it two different ways on your instrument, and that's the same with all the fourth fingers. They're the same as the open string above it, okay? So review, we've got D, E, F sharp, G, and A. So what your job is right now is to learn the symbols on your music staff. Again, it's just a code to tell you where they are. So if you just memorize where those are on here, you'll be able to play music, you'll be able to do great. So keep up the practicing. Practice page 16, practice page 12 and 13, those songs, but also start in on page 14. Page 14, this is the violin book, but it's the same. It has a spot where you're going to practice tracing and drawing the treble clef. You're going to fill in the blanks on what the note names are, and also this is a speed thing to help you kind of learn what it is. Okay, so keep up the good work, have a great fall break, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.